So one of the things that we did, of course, before we started this was to do a lot of talking to other folks. South First Nation have done a lot of work around solar PV, solar thermal, and energy conservation. They said one of their interesting lessons is that the cheapest thing that we can all do is energy conservation, but it's inevitably the last thing we do. They had to put in the really expensive solar PV in order to find that out. We did a lot of work with Solar BC because they had been doing their program province-wide. One of the things that we found out from them is that something that worked really well was neighbors sharing information with neighbors, and that's why we felt we had a real advantage being a small community doing this, because you start to sort of see these sort of neighborhood clusters where, you know, Joe's talked to Fred next door, who's talked to Susan around the corner, and so all of a sudden there's this little cluster of duct split heat pumps or the solar technology. And Royal Roads University are doing a lot of kind of ongoing research for us in terms of sort of finding out what is the latest and the greatest. So obviously talking to a lot of other people kind of helped to kind of bring our blood pressure down a little bit. We always get the ongoing question, what if you don't make the 1,000 target? So before we started this, so kind of last September before we really started doing the installations, we had 3 solar hot water systems in Colwood. And actually, I think one of them wasn't working. And right now we have 30. So put that in terms of exponential growth over the last kind of 6 months or so. And we also think about it in terms of already we have exceeded what Solar BC managed to do in terms of province-wide per capita. We're 10 times that per capita in Colwood. So let's say we only get to 200. It's amazingly far ahead of where we were before. So again, kind of, you know, what are the real risks involved in this one? I think there's a much greater risk in terms of not taking action. This is sort of, you know, the classic climate change Armageddon sort of picture. I think it's really important that we do something about this challenge that's facing us. And it's all about learning from mistakes. Okay, so updrafts. What are some of the real kind of support teams that are out there? People, 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 and people. So this is, you know, just quickly, this is sort of council and some of our folks who were the sort of early adopters of the technology, some of the part of the First Nations team, and Jay, who's our program coordinator, a couple of members of staff who are very involved in helping to get the program up and running. I cannot say enough about the importance of the partnership between staff and council and the contractor. It is that kind of whole team approach. One of the things that we learned when we were doing some of our initial checking on information is some of the challenges that other communities had had. One community said to us, we had real problems because building inspection were not on board with this. We were trying to get these things in, and every time we turned around, building inspection was giving us reasons why we cannot do this. So the advantage of being a small community with a fairly small number of staff is that we were able to kind of literally bring everybody in around the table, talk about it, learn about what some of their issues and concerns were, try and address it at the time. And it really does take all of those different departments working together, including planning. Thanks, Ian. Council, you know, we had a council initially that sort of supported the program, quite a bit of changeover in council the last time around, trying to get the new folks on board. But you really do have to kind of bring everybody around the table, otherwise it will trip you up. Partnerships, 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 and partnerships. We have a huge number of partners involved in the program. They play a number of different roles. They're all incredibly important. So we have, you know, the federal government, obviously, as one of our big funding sponsors. The province is also involved in a number of different ways. Royal Roads University and Camosun College, BC Hydro, Fortis BC. BC Hydro, thanks, Robin. Fortis BC, Horizon Technologies are our tech group that are doing the smart home development. South First Nation, we've got League Assets, the developers for Colwood Corners. New Car Dealers Association is involved with us because of the electric vehicle piece. So all of those people play an incredibly important and different role because it is a very diverse program. We also have, of course, the team who are our energy assessors and our installers, the folks who are actually kind of out there working one-on-one with the members of the public. And then, of course, we now have a kind of a growing support team in terms of the folks who've actually got installations in their home, and we're kind of up between 90 and 100 of those at the moment. The media has been incredibly supportive. I think one of the things they like about this program is there are lots of people stories, and there's always different, because there's so much diversity in the program, there are always different kinds of stories to tell. So we've had lots of kind of headliners, not all good, but a number that kind of keep this sort of solar Colwood out in front of the public. So we knew we were going in with a number of challenges. One of the challenges is, how many of you woke up this morning and said, I think I'll install solar hot water on my house today? And I'm going to guess that's pretty much none, because you didn't raise your hand when you said you think you're doing it. It's not something we think about. People think about, oh, I really like granite countertops. Or, I think it's time to replace my roof. But it's just kind of not on our radar screen anywhere. So one of the things that we felt was important was a lot of kind of outreach and education. This is out there, this is real, this is sort of something that's an entirely reasonable and probably a really good thing to do on your home. The second part of unfamiliar technology is, okay, so you've decided to install solar. I know nothing about cars, but I know there's a basic difference between a Mini, a pickup truck, and a sports car. When it comes to solar technology, I have no idea whether I need a Mini, a sports car, or a pickup truck. And even if I do, I have no idea which technology it is, because all of the installers tell me that theirs is the best and why I should buy them. So what we've done is we've put together a solar showroom. People can actually come in, look at this stuff, kind of touch it, feel it, talk to Jay, who's the woman on the left there, ask about, what are the different technologies available, what makes sense for my particular need, what questions should I ask? That basic information is really important because people don't even know what questions to ask. And then, of course, there's the who do I believe, because all of the solar installers tell you that theirs is the best. Again, Jay, as the program coordinator, can kind of help walk people through what their options are, what some of the questions are that they can ask. Another real challenge is around the economics. There's some interesting psychology on energy retrofits in that the first question that people ask is, what's the payback period? How long is it going to take me to get my money back on this one? When you buy a car, what's the return on investment? When you put in granite countertops, what's the return on investment? We do a lot of stuff because we want to. But when it comes to energy retrofits, that's always the first question. And the other challenging piece about return on investment is most people don't actually understand what return on investment is anyway. But as long as the number sounds good, that's fine. So, basic information, again, is the problem. The next big thing that we continue to hear a lot about is, yeah, I'd really like to do it, but I don't have the money. And the analogy here is, if I'm selling you a washing machine or a car or whatever, I don't say, pay lots of money now and benefit down the road. I say, no money down, 20 easy installments, benefit, benefit, benefit up front, oh yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. Whereas what we do with this is we say, well, you have to put out a lot of money up front, but your energy bills will go down. Really honest. It's kind of a marketing challenge. So one of the things that we did do right is that we provided upfront incentives. So through the Live Smart BC program, as a homeowner, you pay out all the money, and then you get it back as a rebate. We actually kind of took it right off the top. We pay our installers directly. So the nice thing for the homeowners is they never have to shell that money out in the first place. So that has helped to bring it down. We've also provided financing through Van City, who's also one of our partners in the program. Another real challenge is around people saying, well, I'm not going to live here very long, so I'm not going to see the benefit of this. I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get past that point of payback. It's all going to be, whoever buys my home is going to be benefiting, but not me. And another variant on the theme is the folks who, the kind of the split incentive. So you've got somebody who's renting, the landlord would have to pay for the installation, but it's the renter who's paying for the hydro bill. how do you kind of start to make that piece work? And I have to say that's one we haven't really wrestled to the ground yet. Couple of things that are helping. One is that BC Hydro, hopefully fairly soon, will bring in their pay-as-you-save program. Basically, what it means is you're doing your financing through BC Hydro, but the nice thing is you know, if I sell my home to you, you might take up that payment for me. So I'm only paying for the bit that I benefit from. The other thing, and we've got a group of Royal Road students looking at this right now, is what happens to your home value? You know when you renovate your kitchen or your bathroom or you do the painting or whatever, all the realtors say, oh, the value of your home goes up. You know, we know anecdotally from our realtors that happens with energy retrofits as well. We're working with the students to get some real data around that. One of the biggest challenges that we have in this program is we don't have enough time. I think we've attempted to do a 10-year program in a 3-year timescale because this is sort of the classic tipping point graph. And, you know, think of any uptake of any technology. Happens very, very slowly, and then all of a sudden there's a kind of an upturn that starts to happen. So we're trying to get to 20% of our community, which is only down here, but we're just kind of down here, and you know, my fear is that do we have enough time to kind of have that ramp-up period? So that's certainly going to be a real challenge that we continue to face over the next couple of years.